Release.
Is this like cool or not cool chauvinism? I can't tell.
We're all different flavors of men's rights activists on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different flavors of men's rights anus.
Yeah,
Buddy.
I believe
Oh, shit,
men
I gotta-
gotta get first.
Hey,
to the day
hello
are
and welcome
superior.
to the Benzo Rehab dungeon.
We hump 'em, you dump 'em. The men that we're defending.
That's
The
the
rights of-
slogan. It is episode 118. Danko, you missed this. I no longer pre-name the episodes anymore. So
Fuck yeah! Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I
Do we
did give
post-name
into
'em?
your union demand. But
Finally.
so if you think of something that should be the episode title, feel free to shout it out at some point. But it's episode
MRNA.
118. What's that?
MRNA.
Yeah. It is the
Men's rights in the ass. That's what that stands.
Yeah, we should name it after the throwaway joke in the first few seconds.
People just stop listening. They think the whole thing's gonna be like that.
Yeah.
We're Cumtown now, guys. We're Cumtown, but we're not funny.
Yeah.
This is the Adam Friedland hour.
Oh.
4 hours. The Adam Friedland four
Which
and a
one
half
of us
hours.
is Adam Friedland out of all? Never mind.
We're all Adam deep down.
Um,
Who is the most
you haven't let me like
U.S.
finish
of us?
the intro or anything, man. I've got the.
are
whole-
we actually recording this now?
Yeah, it's live and
Is
everything.
it time? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
We're broadcasting.
Broadcasting. We're ladcasting. There's no broads
Live from
here, you know what I'm
various
saying?
places around the contiguous U.S.
Which
It's
actually
Friday
I think isn't there a Supreme Court case where they're looking at making the decision that yes, you are allowed to say things, but it might not actually be your right to make sure people hear those things.
Probably. That makes
Yeah.
sense. I haven't looked into that yet.
That you don't have. I think it's that whether or not
Speaking
you
of
have the right
saying
to
things,
broadcast.
It's ethical to shadow ban each of us, frankly.
Speaking of saying things, I have to say that it is the 9th of December, 2022. I'm your host, Michael Deebs. I am joined by Danko Suvin from the Instagram handle @DankTheLuz, and John, the producer, from the Instagram handle God's Sleepiest Soldier.
It's an apt name.
Gentlemen, starting with Danko, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, am I just moved to the last now?
You could say you're in the
Yeah.
back of the line.
I've been
And perhaps if the line was a bus, you are perhaps on the back of that bus. I don't know.
I see.
But it's
Um,
boarded by, order of who goes first. So you're last and that's why you're in the back. Not for racist reasons.
Well, if I'm allowed to speak now,
Yeah. I'm sorry. Is this man getting in the way of your speech? Is this man
We should really
harassing
just-
you?
we should have separate streams, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna continue that joke.
That's
I'm doing fine. I had a pretty good day today.
that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's snowing out here. It's been nice. I cooked some food. I'm drinking some warm cider I poured vodka into.
There you go.
And I'm unemployed. The shit's smooth, man. Yeah.
There is something to being unemployed that isn't so bad. I
Yeah.
found.
Yeah, it's pretty stressful, but also not stressful at all.
Yeah, there's some give and take there for sure.
Yeah. The cool thing though is because I was self-employed before, technically, I can't collect unemployment because our
Very
system
Cool
works.
country wherein all things labor related are good.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that at all
We're
during
not
this
going to
episode.
talk
though.
about anything like that later.
Hey, John, how are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm great. I caught up on a lot of sleep last week.
Yeah.
Nice.
Um,
Nice. We haven't done this podcast in like 6 months.
Was
Right.
there a specific time you were sleeping last week that like really sticks out to you?
No, not really. It just all, you know, it all kind of blends together. But I mean, it's obviously not important time.
Definitely,
Because,
definitely not Friday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, no,
As you
I've
were
got
missing
the
multiple calls of me crying and wailing and saying, "John, I miss you. Please come back."
yeah,
Nothing
no,
like that.
empirical studies have been done. I wake
Okay.
up for important things times.
Hmm.
Yeah, if it's
Why?
important, I wake up for it. That's why, you know, I wake up at night all the time. You know, there's always
Sure.
something important happening.
Yeah, your bladder fills up or something. You know, your prostate's small.
Don't pee the bed again. Gotta wake up for that.
Why wasn't I here?
You were busy being trad, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
And
pretty cool.
Are,
That was
are you
cool.
still a part-timer, Danko?
Yeah, well, because I'm trad now, I gotta do trad shit all the time. You know, I gotta
I have a
like
feeling that
look at
attendance
Christmas
will be
trees and shit.
spotty through the holidays, which actually leads me to the first order of business we should discuss, which is we'll do an episode next week, but the week after probably not, and the week after, I don't know, because it's kind of between two holidays, and I drink a bit on the holidays. I don't know about you guys, but
I don't.
I
Why
don't know
would I
if
do
I'll
that?
be researching topics over the holidays. You know what I mean?
I don't. No, what do you? Is it because of the drinking that you're not gonna do it?
Yeah. Well, the drinking and like video games, you know, I get into like a video game binge mood over the holidays.
Yeah. Okay. Important question about all this. How is it different in any way from what it's usually like?
I was just letting people know, man.
No, but like
the
on your
drinking.
the drinking, the video games, like how is it different from like this last week, I guess?
You know, it's actually not that much different, but I do it more during the week rather than just keeping it to the weekend during the holidays.
Yeah. But Friday night's a weekend, right?
It is. Yeah, Friday night's definitely a weekend.
Look, I'm just Socrates here, all right? I'm just asking questions.
Alrighty.
All right, buddy. Someone's
I'm not
gotta
sure
do it.
if that's
Someone's gotta be
exactly
the-
like what we would attribute to Socrates. Like, you know,
Someone's gotta
Socrates,
be
he was a
the-
guy who just would not stop asking questions.
I mean, they
Friday,
killed him because he
right?
was irritating, right? So
Yeah, I don't know if it was like a question-based sort of killing him thing. I think it was more like a
look, it's called Helenkus, bro. It's really cool and smart. I'm not one of you sophist fucks. I'm a cool existentialist philosopher wearing sunglasses.
Hell yeah, same dude. Except for the
Hell, I mean,
philosophy
yeah,
part.
both of us are. Isn't that cool? Man, the listener, this is the one time that they're missing out, actually.
Yeah.
The listener doesn't get to see us both wearing dope-ass sunglasses.
Do you
We
think
look
that there's
cool as shit.
any like Supreme
Yeah, we
Court
do.
justices that like jerk off to the fact that we'd probably torture Socrates into answering a question in our
mean-
current justice system?
Into like making up a fake answer kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that. That seems like something Alito might be into.
Yeah, that's a very oddly specific kink, and I was actually gonna say that definitely Alito, probably nobody else. Oh yeah, I want to get Socrates on a fucking stipulation so hard. Oh.
Hemlock, more like ham-ass cock, because it's big and think like a ham.
Yeah.
It's like a ham hock.
Yeah,
you know?
Clarence Thomas
Okay.
is asleep because
Dick.
his wife already told him how to vote.
There you go.
Yeah, and he already came with his secretary. Secretary. It's funny because he sexually assaults people, allegedly.
Yeah, that's a good joke that you should do.
Yeah.
Is jokes about sexual assault.
Is that Clarence Thomas is a rapist, allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. For legal purposes, we must say allegedly.
Clarence Thomas rapes all the time in Minecraft, a normal place to rape. All right, what are we talking about tonight?
Because I didn't install that
Is
mod.
Clarence Thomas the only fucking black serial killer? Fucking like I can't think of another blacks other than I guess the DC snipers, but like Clarence
Well,
Thomas
that was
is that
kind of
like
cool.
that-
So do we call it a serial killer? Or do we
yeah,
call it like...
they're a spree killer kind of, maybe terror, a little bit of domestic terrorism mixed in there, but like Clarence Thomas is just like, I don't know, like a kid who licked too much paint and became a psychopath.
that I don't think we can consider the DC snipers because I don't feel like you're allowed to be called a serial killer if you can just like serpentine out of the way.
Nobody was like, hey, if you're approached by the Zodiac killer, all you gotta do is walk in squiggles and you'll be fine.
That's why
Just
Dahmer never got me.
zigzag.
I have a very specific way of dancing.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was
You
trying,
heard it
he
here,
was trying to
psychopaths.
stab you in the forehead with a screwdriver, but you were just like, what?
No, it's
haven't
actually
been-
because I'm straight and white.
Oh, yeah.
He
I
would
was
have
gonna
gotten
say,
in
you
trouble.
also haven't been in Milwaukee long enough to ever have met Dahmer when he was
Are you
around.
doxing me? Are you doxing me?
I'm pretty sure you told people that you live in Milwaukee.
Look, man, you can't just tell people that I live on one of the main streets in the middle of the Upper East Side of Milwaukee, right?
Okay. Well,
You can't.
you can't tell them that my address is...
Yeah. Hell yeah, that's cool.
Well, so apparently in the chat, Carly is saying there was a
Just-
black serial killer in Baton Rouge, Derek Todd Lee.
Yeah.
Carly is not an ally to black people or their image, I guess.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But also, I don't believe in FBI profiling, really, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
not super reliable, and
For
also, racism and stuff.
Right.
But there is one surefire way to profile people and figure out if they're a serial killer or not. And it's if they have some fucking weird ass name like Derek Todd Lee.
That is a pretty... That's three first
Yeah.
names.
In fact, yeah, if Lee is in your name at all, unless it's like your last name, and you happen to be Asian, you are a serial killer. If you're a white guy whose last name is Lee, you are a serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek Todd Lee kind of gives me like Lee Harvey Oswald vibes, right?
Yeah, also,
Well,
there you go.
then isn't there a famous criminal family, either in like the Appalachians or the Old West or something, the Lees?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm not some kind of Texan weirdo that knows about that.
Hey,
Weird
so
shit.
let's get to some content that
I don't
I've
care about
prepared.
outlaws.
I fucking refuse.
Okay, well, never mind, guys. Shut it down.
Yeah, because nobody.
Take my medicine, take yours too.
All right, first link, John, go.
Fine.
Get
Charging
that
ahead with
fucking Audi
what
off
is the
my
symbol?
screen.
An Audi. Fucking yes. Go get an Audi. Take the lead.
I've got an any.
So San Francisco is going to start allowing police robots to be used to kill people.
Oh yeah.
This isn't killer robots, it's not the Boston Dynamics dog with a gun on its back. There's nothing that convinces me that that's even something that'll work besides incredibly limited testing and dumb luck. But instead, these will be robots controlled by humans, because everything artificial is always just a person in a room now. And instead of, this person in a room flying a drone over the Middle East, this person in a room is going to be controlling a robot. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit.
So somebody with less than a GED and education and no empathy.
Yeah, a dumbass cop is going to be controlling this. Supervisors in San Francisco voted Tuesday to give city police the ability to use potentially lethal remote-controlled robots in emergency situations following an emotionally charged debate that reflected divisions on the politically liberal board over support for law enforcement. The vote was 8-3, with the majority agreeing to grant police the option to, despite strong objection. There's no comma there. Who wrote this? AP News.
A journalist? No,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Despite strong objections from civil liberties and other police oversight groups, opponents said the authority would lead to the further militarization of a police force already too aggressive with poor and minority communities. That is correct. Supervisor Connie Chan, a member of the committee that forwarded the proposal to the full board, said she understood concerns over use of force, but that according to state law, we are required to approve the use of these equipments. So here we are, and it's definitely not a easy discussion.
I
I
don't
even think that
understand.
that's true about the state authority that like says you have to use killer robots. But go ahead and scroll down a little bit more and say your point.
So it's kind of like if a tree if a tree falls in the woods kind of thing, right? Like if there isn't a cop in the room to be a coward, is a criminal going to get shot?
Yes, the answer is now yes.
Yeah.
The cop no longer has to be there. It can be one of those dumbass like fucking I don't know meal delivery robots that has like an explosive planted inside of it, and the police get to commandeer it now.
So they don't even have to have like a fucking naked, emaciated fucking justification to kill somebody anymore. Potentially.
Yeah, and so that's like the real issue here, I think, is
there's no coward to feel scared.
Right, yeah. You when you're a police officer in the presence of a homeless person doing nothing except for maybe yelling loudly, you get to use the excuse that, oh, hey, I felt scared. Now we're just going to see the same sort of thing, which is like, well, the VR simulation I was in was very realistic. And, with the goggles on, it feels like you're in the room. And I was afraid that the robot would get stabbed. So I activated the explosive charges.
Actually, in a certain way, because you're suspending judgment when you're using the VR headset, it's actually realer and scarier.
Right.
Yeah.
But scroll down a little bit, John. The San Francisco Police Department said it does not have pre-armed robots and has no plans to arm robots with guns. Oh, thank God. But the department said, but the department could deploy robots equipped with explosive charges to contact, incapacitate, or disorient violent, armed, or dangerous suspect when lives are at stake. Yeah, contact
with
is
bombs. Contact
is code word for kill.
Yeah, contact is just code for run over.
Right.
Like, you're sleeping on our public land. You gotta, roll over you.
The other problem is, the pure fantasy of a situation in which a robot armed with explosives is going to somehow save innocent lives in the area. I don't know how you guys how much you know about explosives, but they tend to just kind of radiate out from like the source without any discrimination.
Yeah, well, but a cop, again, who's a coward, who fires fucking 16 rounds into a crowd of civilians and then reloads and fires again, like a bomb only goes off once,
There you go.
A cowardly cop fucking just keeps shooting.
Teach a man to shoot, but teach a man to explode.
Go ahead and scroll down just a little bit more, because every line of this article is kind of just fucking funny. Robots equipped in this manner would only be used in extreme circumstances to save or prevent further loss of innocent lives. Again, it's an explosive robot, so like if we have a hostage situation, how are you going to explode that robot without like killing everyone? You're turning it into a shrapnel bomb, essentially, right?
Yeah. So they
towards enemy. It's that simple.
They've already used this. They've used this robot once before. They used it in Dallas.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and the only way that they were able to use it, because you can outwalk it, is that you have to chase an armed gunman into a dead end, not let him escape because you'll shoot him, not go around the corner because he'll shoot you, and then ram or chase a terrified man into a corner of the room fucking with a RV car and then hit the explode button. That's how you use it.
That's so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
That's some Tom Clancy fucking bullshit. Fucking stop. You coward ass cop. If you want to shoot somebody, fucking do it like a real man. Or woman. Sorry. I don't know why I was so gendered there.
Non-binary police matter
Yes.
also.
If you want to shoot somebody, do it like a real they, them. But
Cool.
yeah, so San Francisco police currently have a dozen functioning ground robots used to assess bombs or provide eyes in low visibility situations, the department says. They were acquired between 2010 and 2017, which is when the military was kind of like offloading a bunch of gear as well, by the way. And not once have they been used to deliver an explosive device, police officials said. Oh, thank goodness for that. Without authorization, you guys haven't used these for delivering bombs. But explicit authorization was required after a new California law went into effect this year, requiring police and sheriff's department to inventory military-grade equipment and seek approval for their use. So when the gal before, the councilwoman was saying that the state of California requires us to authorize this sort of stuff, what she meant is we have to get authorization from a council vote before we're allowed to use it. So there's no
we
mandate.
have to choose. It's not automatically authorized.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like the state is like forcing this on them. What it is you have to get this authorization from your city council or whatever
I think
before you
sheriffs,
can use it.
It's a governor.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Something like that, or
Or at
like on a
least,
county basis usually, because most sheriff's
well,
departments are county based.
Well, no, I guess it depends on your state. 'Cause, like, I don't think that in Texas, I don't think the sheriff has to talk to the county commissioner.
The law is very cool
And weird and dumb.
So yeah, without needing to, but just for the sake that I guess the process liberal notion of things, they decided to authorize that yes, explosives can be used with our robots now, and I'm sure it's only a matter of time before this is actually used. Now that it was put out there that hey, if you do this, you have to seek approval. So people are just seeking approval now.
Yeah.
I don't know. And now approval's been given, so now it's on the table.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like how Obama's drone strike program worked. Was that like, oh, okay, we have the guidelines for how we do drone strikes now, and it's become an automatic process because now all we have to do is just fill out the right form for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made
like the fact
systems
that
and procedures.
The fact that it required executive approval just meant that there was then a kill list written by the president. That's it.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
V in the chat says, why does Danko sound like he's inside a church? MF sounds like he lives inside an empty fish tank. Am
I Dano?
Well,
Who's
yeah,
Dano?
I think he missed the K.
Is it DANO?
Yeah.
Oh.
But
because I live in a fucking fishbowl, bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, way to punch down on somebody who just lost their job and was talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
Live in a
look. He's living inside of a burning barrel.
Yeah.
This is Diogenes core. Do I sound like shit, or is it just because I live in a ballroom?
You're a little bit like echoey, not like dampened or in any way or anything like that. It's
I have sound dampening shit up. You know that this is true.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's doing anything.
Good. Yeah, it doesn't, and it's because you have wood floors. Sorry to dox you further, but I think it's because you have wood floors, and
I've got wood floors and bare walls, and it's not as echoey.
You know what? I don't need to take this shit.
You shouldn't, but you should anyways. For me,
yeah. Okay, I will. Yeah. For comedy.
Yeah,
for the news.
You know how boys are. We bust each other's balls and stuff.
Do you like how I seem to be dissolving slowly more and more into the fire? That's not on purpose.
I just figured this was like a gradual slouch that would turn into you eventually being off camera.
See, yeah, and I thought it was. I was hoping that it was a deadly disease that was contagious. Through
Yeah, digital disease.
Yeah.
We're
That's
all
my
in
new
the
industrial
Matrix
band.
now.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all for that article, but very
It's a
very
cool article.
cool.
Makes me feel good about the future.
Yep.
As long as the cops are only allowed to bomb me with robots and not shoot at me.
Well, they're
Now-
allowed to do that too.
Yeah.
They're allowed to do both now. Is I think
Well,
maybe the problem.
So
Well, I mean
yeah,
that's
so-
just PvE at that point. As long as I'm not doing any PvP, like that's where the real challenge is, you know. So
now I remember what the Supreme Court case was about, because it was about cops being cowards.
Yeah.
So the Supreme Court might say that yes, you have the right to like record a thing or say a thing, but you don't have the right to transmit that across the airways when a cop is in your vicinity because of officer safety somehow. So cops can kill you over officer safety, or they can at least do very dangerous things to your body.
Yeah. that
For
makes
you know,
sense.
like doing Facebook Live or fucking doing a live stream.
Look, all I can say is if that becomes like the new like statute of how we deal with cops.
Yeah, that they're gonna
I'm just gonna walk up to cops and be like, yeah, I'm just gonna walk up to cops and be like, facts don't care about your fucking hurt fee snowflake, and they're gonna shoot me to death.
just take like selfies with every cop that you see, and like geotag it.
Take selfies with them, geotag it, and then tag them in it with this fat fucking pig right now.
Look at this fucking idiot. Very cool.
Go ahead and go to the next very cool link that I've got prepared for us.
Oh gosh.
So Jordan Peterson had an interview with Netanyahu.
And had his shoulders surgically reimplanted.
I have no idea what's going on. See, you know, I don't know if you boys have heard about this, but Liver King, you know, that like giant red beast that's like obviously.
Oh, we
full
know
of
the
steroids.
Liver King.
Well, I don't know if John knows the Liver King.
The Liver King?
Are you serious?
He's not nearly on. John, go.
You're
to
not
Google,
up with the times.
Go to Google search and look up Liver King. It's all one word.
Look up his dog, Liver Spot.
Oh,
dude.
Liver King. All right, and just hit images. This guy.
The man with the real.
Yeah, I've totally seen this guy before. I didn't know that he advocated for liver.
He advocates for like eating bull testicles and drinking blood, and he advocates for a lot of bullshit. But go back to the previous link.
I mean, it looks like it works.
It doesn't. He's on steroids. That's what came out about him, is he had to admit that he was on steroids. After like years and years of denying it.
Next thing you're gonna tell me is that all the vegan bodybuilders are on steroids. They couldn't be on steroids.
No, it's all natural. But I saw a funny meme going around that said,
"Oh my god."
It was a picture of the Liver King, and it was like, this is what they tell you an all meat diet does. And then it was a picture of Jordan Peterson, and then it was like, this is what an all meat diet actually does. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Jordan Peterson's shoulders, but they don't seem very masculine to me, for a guy who's always talking about masculinity. But
yeah,
anyways.
it kind of looks like they were put on his back, and they're trying to reach back like around, you know.
Well, it's all suit padding, I think, is what's going on here.
Yeah, I really want him in like the talking head suit. You know,
tiny little head with a big body.
This is not my beautiful house. Whatever.
He had this interview with Benjamin Netanyahu. Go ahead and play this, John.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Let's see here.
The Jews have done a tremendous amount of work in improving this territory. And I know there's a principle of ownership in Western common law, in English common law, and I'm not a lawyer, so I may muck this up to some degree, but I understand the principle. If you own territory, a vast swath of land, and you're doing nothing to it, and someone comes and squats on it and spends a lot of time improving it, at some point they actually develop a valid legal claim to the property itself. And so there seems to be something intrinsic to our notion of valid ownership, that if you're going to occupy a territory, you actually have to do something with it that's productive. And so that's at least part of the claim you're making at the moment,
pause right here.
to buttress the notion that the Jewish people have.
What the fuck?
Jordan Peterson, proud Manifest Destiny enjoyer. Yeah, that's I not too long ago I posted about how Jordan Peterson constantly espouses, I didn't call him a white supremacist, I just said he constantly espouses white supremacist beliefs and rhetoric. I don't know, man. I think I was right on this one. I think all the years I've been calling Jordan Peterson a right-wing, horrible maniac of a person, and people have been like, nah, he's just like confused and a little stupid. No, he's just bad.
Dumb, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, how else
yeah.
do you respond to that besides like you've just literally kind of tried to write off every genocide that's ever happened ever, sort of thing.
Look, the Palestinians weren't using the territory that was being stolen from them.
Right,
And so
yeah.
the fact that you've went ahead and, I don't know, built another concrete house in that territory means that it's yours now. Because you
Yeah.
demolished the preceding home.
and it's notable that he cites Western Commonwealth law,
English common law, like
exactly.
specifically, yeah.
Right.
It's like, well, I mean, it is largely their fault.
Maybe it's just like the native blood that I have somewhere inside of me that just like immediately recoiled from that. But I feel like I've heard that before,
Yeah.
Like,
and you know who made big decisions about Palestinian land that didn't live in Palestine?
the English. Because they
So pretty
actually
cool.
like had this weird ownership thing of Palestine, and that's why
And Britain did relocate like large amounts of even their own people to places where they couldn't lay any claim to the stuff that they owned. Like if you wanted to like a new housing development, you just fucking arrest the neighborhood, send them to Australia.
Yeah. like I said before, we should have just given the Jewish people after World War II. We should have just given them almost all of Germany. Just give them all.
Would have been the right. It would have been the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Push the Germans into Poland. Oh no, Austria. Push them into Austria. No, I wouldn't want to do that to the Austrians.
Would it legitimize the claims of some anti-Semites at the time? Sure, but they wouldn't be in power anymore, so who cares? Yeah. So now this this guy who's obviously from very Middle Eastern descent is going to reply to Jordan Peterson.
Have a valid claim to the present territory.
Well, and
there were a lot of movement back and forth.
Yes,
but the Jews have actually taken the land and made something of it.
Well, I'm saying something else though. I'm saying that they held the land for 2,000 years, were kicked out. The Arabs came and conquered it and immediately lost it to others and did nothing with it. The others did nothing with it. So it was basically, they took over my apartment, okay, a long time ago. Yeah. The guys who took over, who basically kicked me out, were kicked out themselves. The apartment was left barren, and many decades, in this case centuries later, I come back to this barren mess, okay, this ruin, and I build it up back, and I not only improve it, I not only make my ownership based on improvement, but that nobody else did anything with it. There was no someone else. There practically were no tenants.
Right.
There. That's my argument.
Right. You're
Just what was it? 700,000 people.
Go ahead and pause it so it doesn't repeat.
There's no pause button.
It's already no. Don't. But I love a more subtle point that he's making, I hope on accident there, which is
No,
that
no, no. I think
that
Netanyahu is making this point on purpose, but go ahead.
well, no, I think there's a subtler one buried in there than I think the one that's pretty clear. I mean, there's some obvious bits of propaganda there, but I really like the point that somehow BB here went ahead and ended up improving on King David's kingdom. That like current Israel is actually way cooler than even the old Israel was.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's an interesting take.
Well, it's also, yeah. I mean, it's such a mischaracterization of the entire thing.
Yeah.
It's all fucking lies, of course. Palestine wasn't a barren mess. It was a regular colony of England, which is to say that all of its resources were being extracted. So if there was a barren mess situation going on there, it is a direct result of the people who gave the Israeli state the mandate to exist in the first place.
Yeah. Look, none of the baristas at the Starbucks were doing anything with their surplus value. So I decided when I came in to murder everyone and take over the Starbucks, I would do something with the surplus value. And now I'm rich. Why didn't any of these baristas do anything with that?
And then
I
the
don't
other
know.
thing is like, I mean, he's using the royal I guess, when he says, I came back and I fixed it up or whatever. No, the entire like Allied forces after World War II invested heavily into this project because they wanted a foothold in the Middle East. You didn't build anything yourselves. It's not like there's something intrinsic to the Israeli state, and of course they're conflating Jewishness and the Israeli state with each other, which is of course disingenuous, and it's how they get away with claiming anti-Semitism anytime you claim that the Israeli state is exactly what it is, which is an apartheid state. That's when they really like to hang on to, no, we're a Jewish state. And if you say anything against a Jewish state, then it's a problem. The Israeli state is not Jewish; it is a genocidal state, and lots of Jews, both in the U.S. and abroad, heavily disagree with the Israeli state. So I guess they're just self-hating anti-Semites or something. I don't know, but not a settled issue. And yeah, I mean, it's all just a fucking lie. And the way that this question is prefaced by Jordan Peterson, basically just giving credence to the idea of manifest destiny, and then he just like nods along like, yeah, you guys really fucking nailed it over there, didn't you? That's awesome, man. I love all the genocide you do, and like the Palestinians didn't do anything with it, so fuck them, right?
I was hanging out in my garden the other day, drinking a gin and tonic, as I often do. Of course, by that I mean a meat-based beverage. and then suddenly, as God may have willed, a group of lumberjacks came in and murdered my family in order to cut down the spruce trees lining the exterior of my yard. And produced a beautiful new small factory and lumber mill in place of my home, which in the end, though I didn't necessarily feel positively about it at the time, they're certainly doing more with the space than I was. And so we move on.
Yeah. And that's another, like, why that kind of law is so insidious is, going back to the idea of manifest destiny, one of the arguments that was used at the time that manifest destiny was like the prevailing law of the colonies in America, was that look around, all you see is all this nature that nobody's done anything industrious with.
There's no toxic waste in this water.
Yeah, nobody's set up any logging camps, nobody's poisoned the rivers into oblivion. Nobody's killed all the wildlife off. And this isn't to say that, like, there's also like the noble savage myth that woke liberals like to ascribe to. The Native Americans had, of course, political problems. They had over hunting problems, but you know,
but it takes an Englishman to coat everything in a thick layer of soot.
Yeah, nothing that that the colonizers brought with them improved any of these issues. In fact, they were much worse at all of this than anybody else was. But yeah, I mean, that was like the argument was like, look, they don't have any like giant cities spewing black smoke all the time. They're not doing anything with this land.
Look, would William Blake ever written London in early early America? No,
I guess not, because London wasn't in early America.
There were no smokestacks belching into the sky.
Right. You lose so much poetic nuance when you can't describe all the toxins entering your body.
All the misery that could have become art.
Exactly. You think Dostoevsky could have written all of his miserable novels about I don't know, a Native American tribe that just kind of like moves around and hunts buffalo?
Yeah, instead of being in the beautiful untouched wilderness of the Americas, he was stuck in a backwater shithole.
Let's go ahead and go to the next link, which is the last link we had before we go to the railway stuff.
Dude, this is so good.
Kirsten Sinema has decided that she is now an independent.
Whoa!
Oh yeah, everybody record scratch. Everybody in the party looks over her direction and goes, "Wait, what?" So reasons she's doing this. No, actually, let's let her give her reasons.
Yeah,
which
you.
You're going to
let
find...
the woman speak.
Yeah, I have trouble doing that, as we all know. Let's let her give her reasons, and if we feel wanting after we let her give her reasons, maybe I can analyze some of this. Maybe you guys have some analyzings that you can do as well.
Well,
some analysis or whatever.
I am an analyzer.
Yeah. So this is Jake Tapper, who's kind of like got a similar dumbfounded look to Tucker Carlson lately a lot. I've noticed.
He just looks so tired.
Yeah, he looks tired, but he doesn't have a reason to be tired because, like, I don't know. He's benefited from all the propaganda he spews all the time, so it's not like he's like a beleaguered leftist that's like been fighting in the trenches and trying to expose corporate lies or anything. He's the corporate liar, and he's making a ton of money doing it, so he's got no reason to be tired.
And I bet you when you average it out, his work hours per day, it's probably like 3.5 work hours per work day. When he shows up to
work, he like reads over the brief from I don't know. Choose your 3-letter organization.
Look, he probably spends 2 to 3 hours of makeup every day, and then he has to like clean that off when he gets home.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's an extra 4 hours. So in the end, he works probably 7.5-hour work days.
Yeah, John. I thought you liked work
weeks.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Work weeks.
Let's 7.5-hour work weeks.
Let's go ahead and let Kirsten Sinema give her reason for becoming an independent.
A significant announcement.
I've registered as an Arizona independent. And I know some people might be a little bit surprised by this, but actually I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, a growing number of
She looks
Arizonans
just like an Arizona Republican.
People like me just don't feel like we fit neatly into one party's box or the other. And so, like many across the state and the nation, I've decided to leave that partisan process and really just focus on the work that I think matters to Arizona and to our country, which is solving problems and getting things done.
So, your voting record is pretty...
When I say pause real quick, I mean like... I mean quick, John.
You son of a
capital D Democratic.
Pause! No, I mean... Like, you're supposed to be fast on the draw, not a quick pause.
Hey man, there's a bunch of other buttons over here.
You're taking me. It's a space bar. You're You're how
know,
old
like,
and you don't know that YouTube can be paused with the space bar?
I don't
know about you guys,
keep all
but I'm a real
these
cinephile.
dials moving.
Anyways, the reasons that she gives is that she wants to focus on working on issues that matter to Arizonans, which is solving problems and working on issues, which I guess are things. Like generally like looking around and saying, yes, I should solve problems and work on issues. No, I will not expand on that any further. I will not give any reasons to why being an independent, and again, I didn't even vote in this last election because I think the two-party system is dog shit, and I think her and I have a different definition of what being an independent is. But really, she's just doing this so she never actually has to do anything, and she can't be. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing to gain from becoming an independent in this circumstance. She's not going to help.
It allows her to get closer to just joining the Republican Party without
that is true. It allows her to get closer to that. It also opens her up to what do you call it? Lobbyists from both sides, I guess. Both sides being kind of like generally the same side, but there are some groups that like do only work with Democrats and some groups that do only work with Republicans.
It also allows her to like pose like a Tulsi or something, or actually she's just gonna go on Joe Rogan now, and like she's the right kind of people are gonna think she's cooler. She's gonna get some like hot MMA guy ass. Not from Joe. Joe would never cheat on his wife. Joe cheats on his wife. Allegedly. In Minecraft. Joe cheats on his wife in Minecraft. I don't know why everyone's doing all this sex stuff in Minecraft.
And he does steroids in Minecraft as well.
No, he just does steroids.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. He admits he does steroids.
Oh, I know that he admitted to like doing like testosterone or whatever, but
well, that is steroids.
Look, I'm stupid. All I know is he does creatine, that's a steroid. He takes zinc, that's a steroid. As far as I know, all this shit steroids. You can't blame me for being ignorant.
All right. Well,
he sucks dick, that's a steroid. I mean, probably is. Imagine the amount of testosterone.
It's absolving another man's or absorbing another man's strength and vitality.
Exactly. Imagine how much stronger, listener. Imagine how much stronger you as a man would be. Because we don't have any women that listen to this, right? Zero.
It's
zero
like
women.
17% of zero.
Yeah. It's not like our listenership is actually like a weirdly like 60% women. It's 60-70% women. It's but no, imagine, young man, how much stronger you would be. Imagine no longer having to pull sumo, right? You could do conventional deadlifts just because your belly is full of still as of yet undigested testosterone. Just bubbling up with this the seed of the gods, that ambrosia, that sticky white, that sticky icky, as Snoop Dogg is famous for referring to it as.
That's exactly
Snoop Dogg, also a famous bodybuilder and dick sucker.
Cool. Well, I didn't.
He probably sucked a mean one.
I didn't say that, and you were doxxed, so if you die, whatever.
Yeah. If Snoop Dogg kills me, I'm sure Snoop Dogg has a lot of shooters around still.
No, I don't think he does. I don't think he ever really had shooters. I think that was all talk, really.
That guy, have you heard
he had a licensed professional bodyguard.
That's different than a shooter.
Yeah.
Well, protects you. It's not like a guy that goes out and murders people for you.
Well, that's what it was portrayed like for like 15 years by like Fox News.
Oh well, yeah, of course it's Fox News.
50 Cent, however, just has like he has all of Blackwater on his side. Get it? Because he was very pro Iraq War. That motherfucker loved the.
Why's the water got to be black, Danko?
Sorry, dude. I don't know. Sometimes you realize you're racist, I guess.
Yeah. Play a little bit more of this, John. But also, I would like to point out to the viewer, just go ahead and take a look at the the closed captioning. I noticed this on the video when I was watching it earlier. It's wild. It's all over
let
the
me
fucking place.
let me tell the listener what we're currently seeing in the closed caption.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sentence. I think this is Elliot wrote this one, or E. Cummings. I get confused sometimes, but it's which is the top and.
And I think the problem is that closed captioning, the automatic closed captioning on YouTube, is made to like register human voices, and it's not registering any human voices in this exchange.
It's all lizard people.
Yeah. Go ahead and play a
Your
little.
views are generally that of a moderate centrist Democrat. How does leaving the party change how you do your job?
Well, I don't think anything will change about how I do my job.
Okay.
Arizonans sent me to the United States Senate to be an independent voice for our state, and I'll continue doing that. What I think is important about this decision and this move is that I'll be able to show up to work every day as an independent and not be, stuck into one party's demands of following without thinking. And as we've seen in recent years, both parties have created this kind of requirement or a pull towards the edges that you just unthinkingly support all of one party's viewpoints. It's made it difficult to find
when
folks
it's
who are
your
willing
job
to work.
be one of the two of the group who the other side for some reason tells them what to do.
Yeah.
But she's fucking that up now. Like nobody's gonna
no.
kill her for this.
She's not
Also-
fucking it. She's looking out for her own career is why she's doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Also, I'm really sick of pretending that this isn't just Jim Carrey in a rubber mask. Like if you look at her expression every time that he ends up asking a question when she's acting all incredulous, like that's just keep an eye open for it.
All right.
This is Jim Carrey.
Big reveal someday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's
This
this
is
guy's
Jim
name
Carrey
again?
crawling out of the
This,
rhinoceros's asshole.
Jake
what's the name of
Tapper.
this? Jake Tapper. Yeah, he looks like the saltiest prisoner of war at the concentration camp. You know,
Like flavor wise or like mood?
mood. Yeah, like he stopped feeling the canings when he wasn't able to deliver his propaganda lines with enthusiasm. Like his energy does not match what's her face's fucking Republican librarian from Arizona.
Jim Carrey crawling out of the rhinoceros. Yeah.
There's gonna be a moment where she turns towards Congress and starts talking with her butt. Play just a smidge more, John. But go ahead.
Together.
I imagine she's still.
As you know, Jake.
Supposed to
Go ahead, Dorian.
I imagine she's still actually less transphobic than that movie was, or more transphobic. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. I'll get back to you.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Go ahead.
carry on.
We've been able to do a lot of bipartisan work over the last couple of years, and I'm incredibly proud of that. And I think it's important for folks across my state and frankly across the country to say, yep, there's someone that's kind of like me, doesn't fit neatly into one box or the other, but is standing up for their values, for what they believe in, and is doing it without trying to get one over on the other party or beat the other guy.
So let's talk about practically
and
what
pause.
this means,
We're
because
done with
you're
this
the
clip
chair
now.
of at least two.
Yeah.
Rewind a couple seconds though, real quick, just so we can see her face again. She's wearing a Groucho glasses and nose, right?
Gotta be.
Like those. That's faker than what I have on right now.
Yeah.
That's that's the same
not real,
expression
like
that movie dogs posing with children have. Like somebody's definitely shaking a dead pheasant off screen for them. No.
Oh yeah.
I dead pheasants aside, I really love the the continued reasoning here that like it's gonna be great for someone in the Senate to be to use it some words like representing their values, and I guess the people of Arizona's values is we love to I don't know, bend over for corporations, never do anything good for people. She's so hated in her district that like people like ambushed her in the bathroom to yell at her, and then of course like dumbass libs are like, oh, that's a little bit too far, and it's like, nah, you should just don't give her a moment of rest.
Yeah,
I mean, being hated by your neighbors is a real Arizona move.
That is true.
Arizona's government is like it's like absolutely at odds with everything about its people.
Yeah, no, there's no representation in Arizona that like reflects actual Arizonans' values. And then it's also kind of suffering from the same thing as Florida suffers from. Florida still suffers what?
Mosquitoes?
Yeah, Zika.
Yeah, that's what it is. No, it's old white people retiring into it. Arizona has a bunch of like pop-up sort of like old people suburbs.
It's number
right, the villages.
It's number 3 because I think Texas is number 2, but we're not a tiny population like fucking Arizona.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't know why they'd want to move to Texas. It's like soup here.
Well, they live in
I fucking love soup.
hot soup.
They have enough money to pay for the air conditioning.
Oh yeah,
and they're not gonna leave.
just like they do in Florida, and just like they do in Arizona. But it's like a sliding scale of like how much money you have. If you have a decent amount of money, you go to Florida. If you got a little bit less than a decent amount of money, you go to Texas. And if you have like a little bit less than that, you go to Arizona.
You die at home. Oh.
No. I mean, by decent amount of money, I mean like you're rich. You've made millions at some point, sort of stuff.
You work for Boeing instead of Raytheon.
You can spend a week in the nursing home without getting beaten.
Right. Yeah.
No one actually steals your watch. You just blame it on like the nearest Mexican
your
nurse.
kids put you in one of those fancy places where they don't beat the shit out of the elderly. All right, so let's go to the railways. Speaking of Arizona,
man, I love trains.
The railways.
Yeah, this is going to be our most autistic episode ever because we're going to talk about trains a lot.
Beep beep.
That's not the sound
train
trains
noise.
make at all. They make more like a.
Oh, I've liked trucks all along.
So, in the discussion of where we are with the railway labor strike, we have to kind of go back to where the I guess the real strain of things started to happen. We'll go into like kind of like the history of railway labor and a few links. But one of the first things is that BNSF, one of the major railway operators, instituted this policy called high vis. That's HI-VIZ for the listener. And it's an attendance policy that basically sought to penalize anybody for ever getting sick. And then if you happen to be sick, I'm guilty of calling out sick on like a holiday or like the day after a holiday because I'm like hungover, which I consider to be a sickness because, I can't help who I am.
It's your body, Your body's not feeling good.
Look, if I'm throwing up, I'm sick, regardless of whether or not I did it to myself. So this high vis attendance policy sought to basically penalize anybody for calling out sick to begin with, and then if you happen to be sick or you had some kind of emergency, there was a case that I heard about in I've been listening to a lot of reports on this from actual railway labor workers. There was a case where a guy's son was in an accident over the Super Bowl weekend, year or maybe two ago, something like that. Anyways, accident happens over Super Bowl weekend. Super Bowl weekend is lined out as one of these high point days, basically. So it's a point system where if you call out sick, you get a certain amount of points held against you. And if you reach enough points held against you, you basically get fired. And it's like saying, well, you didn't show up to work, you were delinquent, whatever. And so
and here you are signing your own death warrant.
Right. So you know, this guy, this particular case, and I'm sure there's lots of other cases like it, but this guy's son is in an accident, and rather than wanting to run a train across the country, he wants to be with his son who's injured, right? So he calls out sick, but it's on a high point day, a critical day or something like that, I think is what they call it. The terminology doesn't really matter. The principle of it is what matters, which is this is considered one of those days that's high impact.
Yeah.
Because of that, he accrues a bunch of extra points. I don't know if he ended up getting fired over it, but the general idea is that you call out sick, you get points held against you. Enough of those points rack up, and you get fired. You have a genuine family emergency on a high point day. Then you get more points held against you regardless. And another case I heard was somebody got into an accident on their way to the train that they were supposed to run. A person pulled out in front of them. There was nothing that this person could do to stop the accident. They get into a massive accident where, you know, they need medical care. They need to also take care of the fact that they got into an accident. And like there's a fucking vehicle they own that needs to be replaced or repaired, or, you know, whatever you need to do to take care of that situation. You can't fucking go to work that day. That's a normal fact of life in the transit system that we have. And so, you know, this person gets penalized for being in an accident that they didn't cause. If you got stabbed on the street and you had to call in to work, you would be penalized for that. That's just
why you getting stabbed. Why you not getting stabbed?
why are you doing anything other than teleporting between home and work so that you can run our trains?
And we want strong people running our trains too, right? Like not people that are like vulnerable to.
Yeah, not somebody who's gonna be like bent out of shape over a knife attack, or like, oh, I'm sad because my son's hurt, or like, I got into a car accident and I'm stressed.
I'm being eaten alive and raped by all these dogs.
Yeah.
You want that old guy at the shop that nobody knew that all three of his grandkids are dying of leukemia.
Yeah, the stiff upper lip guy who also is capable of teleportation and never once gets ill. Especially,
yeah.
You know,
whatever happened to the cool old guy on the caboose who doesn't say anything? He just smokes his pipe and looks stoically into the horizon.
Whatever happened?
We need more of that.
Oh man, this is a little bit of an aside, but I've been binge hate watching this show called Yellowstone.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but it's
yeah, I've seen a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's some of the worst TV I think I've ever seen. It's critically acclaimed, which is baffling to me.
I mean, critics.
That's besides the point. But you know, the main character is this old Montana rancher guy who, like, despite being shot, like, oh, I'm just gonna tough it out, and if I die, I die. But he always, you know, like, toughs it out because he's cool and tough, and he's a cowboy. And I feel like you know, that's kind of what they want out of their railway workers, except that person doesn't actually exist. And the Montana rancher that gets shot a bunch of times by a gang of white supremacists that he's in a fight with for some reason that can't really be explained by anything other than TV magic. Yeah, that's not real. That guy just dies. Anyways, go ahead and go to the next link.
All right. Next
Take your
link.
time while you do it too. It's fine.
I could possibly go a little slower.
I'm gonna start a high vis policy in this in this podcast. I'm not gonna tell you how many points. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you how many points it takes in order to be fired, but
yeah, but I'm gonna tell you now
I'm gonna keep track of points anyways.
That you've used all the points thinking that use all your points telling me what to do. So good luck reading this, because I'm not going to zoom in. Fuck you.
Fucked up. I need you to zoom in a little bit. It's very small.
I don't
text,
know,
John.
man. Yeah, like I don't think I can give you these points back.
Got a very small monitor because I'm a humble guy. So
try getting bigger eyes, loser.
Yeah,
that's not how eyesight works at all. Lots of animals with very big eyes are fucking blind. Mooses will hump the shit out of cars, man.
The plural's meese.
I think well, isn't that because their antlers are in the way?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
the antlers grow right in front of the eyes.
Yeah, they're like
some water boy like bullshit, like hick logic
Moose.
sort of shit.
Not,
and I don't mean
not
hick
bull,
logic as
moose.
like actual hicks. I mean like TV hicks shit. Like,
man, what's going on with you, Mike? You don't understand meese at all.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah.
I feel like what John just said is equivalent to like, well, gators are so angry because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
That's also true.
Moose hump cars because they got all them antlers and they get in the way of their eyes.
Yeah, until some British guy on a documentary says it, then you'd eat it up.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
There is no man less trustworthy to me than
Attenborough.
David Attenborough. Anyways, so y'all might remember earlier in this year there was a food shortage that was going on. Empty shelves in the supermarkets, etc. Still a thing that's happening, by the way. I don't know if anybody forgot about that when they're shopping. I notice empty shelves all the time.
Yeah, where am I supposed to get my nuggies? You know.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah, my Tyson nuggies, the worst ones.
I literally ate those earlier today, so
hell yeah.
I don't know if you got like a spy camera set up or something, but hey, whatever, man. It feeds me. It keeps this machine running. But you know, there was this huge like, oh, we're gonna blame it on COVID sort of thing that happened in a lot of the shipping industries. Oh, it's COVID that's the reason we can't like get deliveries to where they need to go, and we have these like backlogs of shipments on stuff. In the rail industry, particularly, in the trucking industry, that there is some legitimacy to that, and it's because a lot of truckers died over the pandemic, which is still ongoing, just in case anybody forgot. But during like the height of the pandemic, lots of truckers died. A few rail workers died. They're actually more isolated, weirdly enough, and we'll get into why they're more isolated later. But
they don't have lot lizards the way the truckers do.
Yeah, that's
what it
is. there's no train yard lizards.
Yeah.
Who act as human vectors of disease.
Yeah, think of all the fluid that flows through the average truck lot.
It's probably a lot of fluid, and not even just not even just like the chemical
transmission fluid, oil, cum, blood,
tears
heroin.
of regret. Lots of tears of regret.
Piss.
Oh my God, so much
piss. Tyson chicken nugget shit. Piss.
You good?
Do I need to
Trump's
change the
mostly
article?
pissed.
Is this the new cue to change the article?
Weird things.
No,
keep
no, no, no.
leaking out.
Don't change the article at all. I'm not
That's
done
a
with
what
this.
ass
Oh,
P
shit.
word.
Wet ass P word.
Yeah, I got those. I got those
yeah.
buttons.
What them
Oh,
buttons do.
also this one.
A large pee-filled diaper.
There you go. There's the trucker fluid.
Yeah, that's trucker fluid right there.
A large pee-filled diaper.
There you go. So the food supply was blamed on like, oh, COVID has eroded our workforce and stuff like that. Really what was happening is a lot of these policies that were intended to kind of like fire people. Then there were massive layoffs, as we all know, over COVID. The excuse for companies to lay people off was, oh, economic hardship or whatever. And then they went on to like make massive profits, despite all their economic hardships that they needed to lay people off for. Go ahead and go to the next link, and zoom in on that so it makes sense on the screen. What did you do? Spill your bong water or something? So go ahead and look at that graph real quick.
All right, we have 2 lines.
You have 2 lines.
They intersect somewhere.
Yeah. So
I love when the lines intersect.
It looks like they're playing hard to get too. Look, they're about to intersect here, and they're like, "No, we're gonna intersect over there."
Nah, save that for a later date.
Scandalous lines.
So we have a graph here that shows the amount of employees in the railroad business, and then we have the bottom line is the years, and then we have how much revenue per employee is being made. In the let's just say early 1950s, there are about 1,500,000 workers in the railroad industry. The revenue per employee is below like the bottom line of the graph. I looked at the statistics. Well, actually, you can see the statistics right below it laid out. At this point, we're looking at $6,000 to $7,000 employee revenue per employee. So that's like after you pay the employee all of your operating costs, the amount of employees that you have are making this much revenue, surplus value, some might call it. And that's kind of what the railway company walks away with. You'll see the line of employees drastically drops, right? And at this point, so we've gone from like the 1950s, early 1950s, where we had over 1.5 million, 1.5 million really, railway workers. And that's dropped down to, we have 150,000 about railway workers now. And the revenue per employee is 330,000. So each employee is making a massive surplus value for these railway companies. I would like to zoom in on this little segment just above, even though I'm glad to use this information, I want to point out how weenie these people are. There's this note here that says, "Note: this page is copyright railserve.com. Content may not be reproduced in whole or in part on any website, message board, or other medium. A link to this page is required when citing figures or charts. Please contact us with any questions." So the link is railserve.com/employment.html. You fucking weenies.
Damn.
Got their asses. I was just annoyed when I saw that. That's all. So we've seen a massive drop in employment, which railway operators, well, not operators, business owners we'll say is like a result of automation or, you know, new technologies, blah blah blah. Not really true. All they've done really is they've kind of just made worse trains. Automation, as we know, given all the other infrastructure episodes we've done, automation is a poor stand-in for somebody who is actually doing the work and knows how to like react in certain circumstances. Sensors fail. Sensors don't always consider all the alternative possibilities. AI is a myth, and the less you employ people, the less actual problems get solved. And you know, the rail infrastructure is pretty bad, just like all the other infrastructure in this country right now.
We used to build railroads in this country.
We did genuinely used to build railroads in this country, and now we just let them decay. So,
Cool.
There's been a massive drop in employment over the last 70 years, and it's only gotten worse. If you go back to the graph,
Back to the graph.
Back to the top of the page.
Back to the graph.
it's kind of plateaued for a while, despite the fact that like more and more stuff is implicitly being shipped, and that's why, you know, there's a combination of more stuff is being shipped just because like the population has grown and more stuff is needed to be transported, and then there's also like artificial inflation and stuff like that, which is why like revenue has spiked in the last couple of years. So go ahead and go to the next link here, John.
All right. Oh, where's my cursor?
So this article is from back in early November, I think. But it's basically about how the U.S. railroad workers are preparing for a strike, and it is juxtaposing this with the fact that this year has been one of the most profitable years of any of the railways long time. And part of the reason that this has been so profitable is because they've cut so many workers. They've instituted these policies that like mean that workers can't take any time off without losing their jobs that they need to like support their families. So
they're at-will contractors.
Well, yeah, I mean, we basically have at will is a interesting way to describe it, because kind of what we have here is slavery almost.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to dwell on this article too much. Oh yeah, so the cooling off period, that's actually why I wanted to look at this. So the Biden administration has kind of kicked the can down the road on this subject, where it's actually been years that the unions have been trying to negotiate a new contract with the rail industry, and because it kind of reached a head where the union said, okay, well, we're just going to strike then. The Biden administration used their National Labor Relations Board to impose a cooling off period, which is like, hey, we're not going to give you any solutions, but what if you slept on it a little bit? Also, nothing's going to change, so you don't actually get to sleep.
Look, guys, relax.
Yeah, look, guys,
Cool.
relax is kind of exactly what their solution was, and this cooling off period, as the article notes, ended on September 16th. This cooling off period was the end of it was reached, and the labor unions still weren't satisfied, even though a lot of like the labor union leaders were kind of working for the opposition in a lot of cases. They still couldn't like manage. Yeah, they still couldn't manage to like change the opinions of all the workers to like agree to this bullshit contract that nobody wanted. So you know, as every article about this subject has to include, a strike could cost the U.S. economy $2 billion a day. This is opposition talking point shit, where there will be no strike if you just give the workers what they're asking for, and the workers aren't asking for a lot. So a strike could cost $2 billion a day. Giving the workers what they want probably wouldn't cost that much. So maybe just do that. But greed reigns supreme here, and it's all going back to the profit motive at some point. Danko looks like you wanted to say something, but I don't know.
I was going to make a dumb mountain goats joke. We can move on.
Joke. Dance for me, boy.
It's too much now. But I am wondering, though, how well compensated each train's G.G. Allen, like crust punk, is compensated, who just rides on the back of the train and scares away the other like train hoppers. And do they get sick hours?
They don't get sick hours, but they do like get seniority
Heroin.
on holidays.
Oh, there you go. They're allowed to get off the train eventually.
Yeah.
They get little they get little sausages they can cook over a little hole they dug.
BNSF and Union Pacific, the two largest railroad corporations in North America, reported record profits in 2021. BNSF is owned by billionaire investor Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway conglomerate. U.S. railroads have paid out $196 billion in stock buybacks and dividends to shareholders since 2010. What you have here is the profit motive is driving every decision being made and how the railways operate. And this is what happens anytime we turn over a necessary infrastructure item to private interest. Because, fun fact, the entire railway system used to be owned and operated by the U.S. government, which the U.S. government sucks, of course, but it wasn't for profit, so it was at least doing some, like infrastructure good for shipping of goods. And,
yeah, it's almost as if like that kind of infrastructure and logistics is like a my brain just lost the word. Electrical, water.
Yeah, utility.
A utility. It's fundamentally a utility.
Yeah, it is fundamentally a utility because things have to go places in order for people to have, materials to build things, eat things, buy things. Whether or not you agree with the general economic layout of America, even the USSR had railways, right? So this is a necessary infrastructure. Even the dirty communists had railroads. Even North Korea, I think, has fucking trains.
Yeah, the thing is, they've got like at least one big one, right?
It just goes around in circles.
Yeah, one big one that goes
just full of fake people that like little robots.
Okay, well that's pretty racist to call them fake people. They're called mannequins. But yeah, so the Biden administration really didn't want this to like become an issue before the midterms. So they kind of like tried to kick the can down the road as much as they could. The National Labor Relations Board, which is supposedly supposed to help unions, kind of acted in an obvious anti-union way here by saying, no, you guys got to calm down.
Look, they related to labor just fine.
Right.
They just keep relating that labor.
It's the HR department. It's a government owned and backed HR department for whatever industry you work in. And what we see here is that essential workers, just like we learned in the pandemic, if you were a person who worked in a grocery store or a nurse or a doctor or whatever essential job you worked in, essential worker essentially meant mandatory worker, which is to say you have to go
abusable
to work. Abusable worker, We're not going to respect it if you are afraid of like the medical implications of trying to live through a pandemic and don't want to work in a grocery store. You know, because if you were an essential worker and you quit your job because of concerns over, you know, like your exposure to coronavirus,
And that's kind of fucked up of you. Actually, you're not like a hero anymore.
yeah, you're not a hero anymore, and not only
and also
that,
you should start.
yeah, you don't get unemployment benefits like everybody else. So essential worker is essentially mandatory worker.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what has happened here with the railway workers for over a year now. Really a long time actually. Which we'll get into a little bit later, but basically you have to work, and if you decide not to work, it's illegal. Is kind of what's been handed down. So let's go to the next link, which is a statement from President Biden.
Can this be our union break?
Oh, this little piss boy got to take a little pee break.
Why is everyone here a piss baby except for me?
I don't know, man.
I've never pissed before in my life unless it's on a willing partner.
Yeah.
And I think what you're doing is it's called pissing your own pants.
Yeah. I'm a willing partner. I count as a willing. Come on.
Okay, you say I'm pissing my pants, but I'm actually pissing in my pants.
Yeah. My pants have never been propelled from my body.
Okay, we will take our union mandated piss break.
We love you. Take your medicine.
Fucking
bye.
goddamn nerds.
Where my boys at?
Right here, Dad.
Oh, okay.
What's up, Dad?
Stop putting his fucking name in the goddamn whatever.
Yeah, well, that's what he gets. Now everyone knows.
Everyone knows his name is John, the producer.
Everyone knows the trouble I see. So sick of this shit.
The fuck is he still pissing?
Yeah, he's just got a, I don't know, prostate joke.
It's got a
Prostate joke.
It's got an inflamed prostate that reduces his flow.
Inflame. Inflame prostate. That's Latin. It means.
How are you liking the episode so far?
All right.
Hey,
Turn your camera back on and stop doxing yourself.
idiot.
Who docks themselves?
You did, you fucking fool.
What did I do?
Nothing.
You left your full name up on the screen for everyone to
Oh.
see,
Oh,
along
shit.
with your social security number, your phone number,
Yeah.
your mother's
Always-
maiden name, which is also
Excel.
McKinnon.
It always does this. Why does it do this?
God.
You haven't committed enough to the fake name as much as I have.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Statement from President Joe Biden on averting a rail shutdown. Listen, Jack, I'm calling on Congress to pass legislation immediately to adopt a tentative agreement between railroad workers and operators without any modifications or delay to avert a potentially crippling national rail shutdown. This agreement was approved by labor and management negotiators in September. That's the first major thing that needs to be pointed out there is this is a tentative agreement that was agreed to in September after his cooling off period ended. A tentative agreement was arrived at, which was kind of like a holdover for the midterms, essentially, is basically what it was. And here's where the union leadership kind of failed, is that they were like, okay, we know that the Democrats want to kill workers a little bit less than Republicans, so we'll throw them a bone. We'll give them this tentative agreement so that it looks like the Democrats aren't, responsible for a major railway shutdown.
Yes. Perhaps
Cool
they
if they
will.
were.
They will pull our children from the giant garbage disposal that we get flushed down.
Essentially, yeah. I don't do a very good Joe Biden impression, so I'm not going to keep trying to do it. But
Do an Obama. Do Obama.
well,
do,
no,
do,
it's
do Hitler.
It's funny that I can't do a Hitler. Come on, I don't even speak German. But I could probably do an Obama here because he does at one point say, "Let me be clear." Let me be clear.
Let me be clear.
Let me be clear. But on the day that it was
Contemplate.
announced, labor leaders, business leaders, and elected officials all hailed it as a fair resolution of the dispute between the hardworking men and women of the rail freight unions and the companies in that industry. Not good.
Yeah, we avoided a
I thought
a
I'm
railroad
not doing
strike,
it. I'm not doing enough.
and we tortured some folks.
I'm not super good at impressions.
I'm fucking awful at
Yeah.
I got it.
But John, scroll down so I can read the rest of this.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if it pleases you.
Yeah, man. He's gonna
so-
strike if you're rude to him. Come on.
The deal
both
provides a historic 24% pay raise for rail workers. What is left omitted here is that rail workers haven't received a pay raise for a significant period of time. Depends on who you work for and where you're working, but this pay raise doesn't keep up with inflation, so the pay raise is not a pay raise. It's keeping in track with just under inflation for a lot of people.
Just under being able to afford stuff.
Yeah, I mean, well, No, yeah, because the average like salary of a rail worker is also like massively inflated, and it comes with a lot of overtime hours for a lot of these rail workers. So yeah, I mean it basically what you said. Almost gives you the ability to pay for stuff. Because rail workers have gone, they, this contract negotiation period has gone on for years and years and years without either side agreeing to anything. And it's just kind of like now reached a head. But it provides improved healthcare benefits, and it provides the ability of operating craft workers to take unscheduled leave for medical needs.
What?
There should be an asterisk on that, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
They can go to the emergency room.
Yeah. Since that time, the majority of the unions in the industry have voted to approve the deal. Another asterisk here. 8 out of 12. No. Yeah, it's like 8 out of 12, I think, of the unions agreed to the contract. The problem is that these were passed with razor-thin margins to begin with. And then the other problem is that the 8 out of 10 unions that agreed to this represent, out of the full breadth of union railway workers, they represent less than half of those. So the four unions that didn't agree to it represent the majority of railway workers. So you can say, yeah, 8 out of 12 unions agreed to this, but what do those 8 out of 12 unions? It's like when you consider the fact that California has 2 senators and also North Dakota has 2 senators. That doesn't mean the same thing in terms of real people.
8 out of 10 of the members of this family decided that we need to go to Disneyland today, and they were all the kids.
Right. Yeah. They were all the kids who don't fucking pay for anything. But yeah, no, and that's not to say these 8 out of 10 unions don't matter, but it does put the perspective in place that something like 60% of the members of all the railway workers belong to the 4 unions that didn't agree to this, and the remaining 40% belong to the 8 unions that did agree to it, and they barely agreed to it. So during the ratification votes, the Secretaries of Labor, Agriculture, and Transportation have been in regular touch with labor leaders and management. They believe that there is no path to resolve the dispute at the bargaining table and have recommended that we seek congressional action. Hold the phone. Excuse us. We had people in touch with all the workers, and the people in touch with the workers said, "Oh yeah, we gotta force this." It's essentially what he just said there. Let me be clear. A rail shutdown would devastate our economy. Without freight rail, many U.S. industries would shut down. My economic advisors report that as many as 765,000 Americans, many union workers themselves, could be put out of work in the first 2 weeks alone. Communities could lose access to chemicals necessary to ensure clean drinking water. Farms and ranches across the country could be unable to feed their livestock. Meat worker demands.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of a strike. You put all these things, you put all these things on the fucking line, and the economy, the people, everything is forced to agree to the demands of the workers. That's the entire point of a railway strike. As a proud pro-labor president, I am reluctant to override the ratification procedures and the views of those who voted against the agreement. But in this case, where the economic impact of a shutdown would hurt millions of other working people and families, I believe Congress must use its powers to adopt this deal. Danko, you were saying something?
No, I was going to do another gross metaphor. I don't need to.
No. Let's do some more gross metaphors. I like the gross metaphors.
Well, yeah. You put the when you're trying to get somebody to do something, you put your gun to their neighbors' kids ahead.
Yeah, there you go.
Not the person you're threatening. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know
guilt them a
how you
little
guys
harder.
feel, but if you put a gun to my neighbor's kids' heads, you're not bargaining with much there, I promise you.
That's motivation, if you know what I mean.
Go ahead, pull the trigger, see how I feel.
But my this is unrelated. But my wife, she has this new thing that she does where she refuses to give me sloppy until I bathe.
Okay, Hitler.
And I go like a couple weeks, like it's not a big deal, you know. I'm not like a manual worker, you know.
Right.
So so I just, you know, I let it ripen up, you know, like a fruit. And so yeah, exactly. It's good for your digestion and everything. So so I go a few weeks without bathing, and then she's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it until you like give yourself like a sink wash at the very least.
Bird bath your balls.
And that's why I called the cops.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Get this crazy lady out of my house.
Yeah. No, you know what? You just don't understand. There's no way for us to bargain our way through this.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? Use the Dial dish soap on my balls? Cool.
So, you know, I just love that line. As a proud pro-labor president, as a proud pro or anti-genocide president, I have to sign off on this genocide. But some in Congress want to modify the deal to either improve it for labor or for management. However well-intentioned, any changes would risk delay and debilitating shutdown. The agreement was reached in good faith by both sides. Reminder, tentative agreement, only to help the Democrats in the midterm. I share workers' concerns about the inability to take leave to recover from illness or care for a sick family member. No one should have to choose between their job and their health, or the health of their children. I have pressed legislation and proposals to advance the cause of paid leave in my 2 years in office, and will continue to
advance causes. Just we get closer to them, you know.
Yeah. Every other developed country in the world has such protections for its workers. So, you know, oh man, I'm really concerned about this issue where if you have anything bad happen in your life, you're fucked. I've thought about that, and it's something that I feel deeply about. I'm the president of the United States with like, you know, the ability to sign like declarative orders and stuff like that. But, you know, I think about it, and I'm concerned about it, and I feel your pain. But at this critical moment for our economy, in the holiday season, we cannot let our strongly held conviction for better outcomes for workers deny workers the benefits of of the bargain they reach, and hurl this nation into a devastating rail freight shutdown. Congress has the power to adopt the agreement and prevent a shutdown. It should set aside politics, what? and partisan division, and deliver for the American people. Congress should get this bill to my desk well in advance of December 9th so we can avoid disruption. Set aside politics. This is literally politics.
Yeah.
Cool turn of phrase or like obscuring a phrase, whatever you want to call it that he's doing there. Partisan division. Both parties like unanimously agreed to like push this through. So I don't think there was any partisan division there. It's pretty clear that AOC and the squad are a bunch of fucking hacks because they also voted to push this through.
One of them didn't.
Yeah, it was Rashida Tlaib, and she's fucked up on so much other stuff that it's hard to give her like accolades for this one. So yeah, they all fucked up. They all sold out labor. The other thing that comes into question here is so the rail freight unions are you know, or rail freight in general is a super important thing What would happen if they all decided to walk off the job? Would we force them into labor at that point? Because we're forcing them into labor that they don't agree with at this point. Where is this line drawn between, you know, what labor we force them into, what agreement we force them into? The railroads have to run, but you're not going to give in to any of the workers' demands. How far are you willing to take that? Are you going to chain a fucking engineer to the fucking helm? And I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility at this point, because Congress unanimously voted to push this through.
Yeah, well, because the president could make a decision in the interest of public welfare, and so could a federal judge, I believe, or something, some type of fucking weird old lich commission.
Yeah.
In the interest of public health, chain those engineers to their engines.
Right, and then we've got a bunch of slave workers who are, you know, understandably and reasonably upset with the lot in life that they've been given, and they're operating, you know, hundreds of thousands of tons of railway freight moving through our country. And you know, at that point, I shouldn't say that people should do terrorism, right? I probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah. Some frightenism.
do some frightenism.
Some spookyism.
Do some freightenism. But yeah, I mean, at that point, when you are essentially reduced back to slavery, which is kind of what a lot of these workers, because fun fact about how labor works in America: if you quit your job, you're not eligible for unemployment benefits.
Nope.
So if you are unsatisfied with your working conditions, you can't just quit your job and get unemployment benefits in order to like carry you through to when you find another job. So if railway workers decide to quit their jobs, they're kind of just like free floating out there and have no safety net. And that's a shitty place to be in, regardless of whatever industry you work in. And asking people to like, you know, because I've seen people say, oh, we got to have a wildcat strike then. Well, no, they're not going to do that, because these are people who have families and people they care about that they need to provide for. And you can't just like jump out the plane without a parachute when people are depending on you, right?
Yeah, you got a malicious compliance this job site.
So I think it's incredibly unlikely that we're going to see a wildcat strike out of this. But what we essentially have reached now is forcing workers to work regardless of how they feel about the work.
Yeah, I would love to see like a mechanic crew like moving like an oil pump, you know, like on a material cart, and like, you know, 4 of the mechanics have like guidelines, you know, to like stabilize the load on the cart, while like fucking the other 4 mechanics are fucking slowly pushing it across the maintenance bay. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Some good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's, you know, that's actually a tactic that was used. Tactic is probably the wrong word to use there.
Strategy,
yeah. Well, and also just like kind of natural impulse of people who are working in slavery conditions.
Yeah.
Is that they don't have their heart in it and they don't want to do it, so they just kind of like, and that's, you know, I don't think we need to like rehash the whole like Black Reconstruction in America discussion for W.E.B. Du Bois.
Yeah, like it turns out that those black ladies who could pick 50 pounds of cotton in a day were holding out.
Yeah, right. They were only picking 20 because it didn't serve them any benefit to pick more than that.
No, I mean it only got them beaten when they didn't pick as much the next day.
Right. So you just like lower the expectations and you keep sailing through. And this isn't an argument for like, oh, if we pay workers and we give them proper benefits, they should work harder. No, it's just like when people are slaves, they adopt new strategies. But go ahead and go to the next link because there's an interesting through line here with the Democratic Party and why voting for the Democrats is never going to give anybody a better life. So this is David Dayen. He doesn't have a blue check mark next to his name, but he's a very good reporter, especially on like things that are happening in government. But even he was surprised that this post from his Twitter is, today I learned that Obama signed an executive order in 2015 requiring all federal contractors to guarantee 7 paid sick days to their workers and specifically exempted the rail industry from it, even though they are federal contractors. You want the juicy details of what's going on here. This gal named Randy Rhodes, who runs a worse podcast than we run, challenged him on that, and then he like gave her the actual information, which is the executive order carved out the Davis-Bacon federal employee or federal contractors, which is prevailing wage sort of requirements for anybody who works for the government. And by carving out anybody who falls under like the Davis-Bacon fucking rule of law or treaty, whatever you call it, you carve out the railway workers essentially because they're not counted as federal contractors in the same way. So basically,
are they federal vassals?
I don't know exactly what they would be considered, but they aren't considered people or workers. So go ahead and go to the next link, and I just wanted to throw that in there because it's nothing new that railway workers are accepted from normal labor practices, which is you get sick days, you get time off, etc. So this article was, I think, supposed to link to. No, never mind. So yeah, this is from a site called freightwaves.com, and it says we've probably averted a rail strike. Now what? The subtext reads, "I didn't realize how bad it was," said one farmer about rail worker struggles. Go ahead and scroll down to the body of the article, though. So eventually what happened, and I was hoping to have this podcast last week, but that didn't work out, and that's fine. Not holding that against anybody. But
yeah, Danko.
You can be honest. You can just say it. Just say it.
Yeah.
I was looking at Christmas trees. Okay? They were pretty. I like them.
So the Senate will most likely vote Thursday. This was last Thursday. What I can share is that we have almost certainly averted the chance of a legal national strike. And that's really the crux of what's happened here. Congress has kneecapped the union's ability to do a legal strike, which it turns out that there are such things as legal and illegal strikes. I think we've probably talked about this once or twice before on the podcast because we talk about strikes a lot on the podcast. But
you should do them. Do them a bunch.
You should do them, but you should understand that there's something called a legal strike, and then there's something called a wildcat strike, which is where the government won't recognize your right to withhold labor, which is interesting because when you withhold labor, you no longer like get the thing that you need to survive, which is money. And I fail to see how it can be illegal for you to withhold the thing that you need to survive. It's a very bizarre concept to like really dissect and think about. But
You
the
just
Senate,
need to have a very high IQ to understand. You
yeah,
know,
you need to have a very high IQ to understand that somehow the government is going to force you to do a thing you don't want because it makes you do a thing you don't want for a thing you don't actually need, but you need it to buy things that you do actually need. That's money,
Yes.
baby. But
In a nutshell.
so this link is from last week when I was going to talk about this initially. And so we know the outcome of what vote happened, right? Congress sold out working people. The AOCs of the Democratic Party tried to say, well, actually, what we were trying to do is get a better deal than what railway workers already had, so that's why we had to vote for it.
In two separate deals.
Right, yeah, and that's the problem is that this was separated into two separate deals. Both deals passed, but the way that our cool country works is that the Senate and the House have to approve similar legislation in order for any legislation to pass, right? And so if there's some defining difference between the legislation that either part of Congress passes, they can pick and choose between one or the other, depending on who you are. So the House passed both these deals. One deal is terrible. The other deal is terrible, but like plus. The plus is like, oh, we want to kill rail workers a little bit less. And so all the Senate has to do is vote on a terrible deal with no plus, and terrible deal with no plus gets pushed through. And then what the Senate also did is while they were voting on terrible deal, which was a tentative agreement, again, not something that the unions had like fully agreed to, and then something that the unions ultimately voted down. This tentative agreement was pushed through as the primary agreement, and then what the Senate did is they carved out all the sick days that were attached to it.
Oh.
Super fucking cool, guys.
Yeah.
So go ahead and go to the next link.
this free market's going fucking wild.
this free
It's
market
fucking
is
nuts.
so fucking free.
Yeah.
So the highlighted portion down there, if you could scroll to where that's at the top. So the tentative agreement now guarantees one additional paid day off for workers.
Hell yeah.
Unionized rail employees will be permitted 3 annual periods off for medical care visits and cannot be penalized for that time off by their employers. Hospital admissions or surgeries cannot be penalized. So now we've got the awesome benefit of if you need to like have your heart operated on, you won't lose your job, I guess. And only because
Bastille Day, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
We made it.
we stormed the Bastille. If you have to have heart surgery, your boss can't fire you and put you and your family into homelessness. However,
I mean, unless you go past the one additional day.
Well, yeah, right, yeah. And that's what's amazing about this is 3 annual periods off. Periods is slang for days, I guess now. So three annual days off for medical care visits.
When your heart explodes.
Well, keep in mind the important thing about your heart exploding, though, which is that the medical care visits apparently must take place Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and be scheduled at least 30 days in advance.
So
fuck yeah.
If your heart is gonna explode, you have to know it 30 days in advance.
Every time I get stabbed by a train hobo, it's on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Exactly.
Then I plan it out 30 days in advance, 31 days in advance.
So The time off allows for days off before or after an exam, according to the tentative agreement. It's not clear if employees will be penalized for taking medical leave should the days off around the exam not take place on those 3 days of the week, or if the exam must occur within less than 30 days of notice. So they basically made impossible rules for, yeah, you can go visit the skin doctor if you dare. Like,
if you can tell me how fast a freight train moves across the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was thanks for taking my call, Doc. I would love to take that Monday appointment that you have available in 6 months. It's the next available one that you have to deal with my very specific form of cancer. But I can't actually do Mondays because my employer's afraid of me taking a 3-day weekend. No, Fridays won't work either. Same thing, really.
Yeah, same reason. Too much time off makes the heart grow weak, is what they keep telling me. So
stop relying on days off, or you will come to resent their absence.
Fucking oh shit.
Immortan Joe Biden.
Immortan Joe.
Yeah, that's the meme I just thought of. Immortan Joe Biden. I'm gonna make that meme later. Don't worry. I'll probably forget it.
Fine.
But yeah, that's where we are. We're laughing, we're giggling, we're having a good time. But this is pretty fucking horrific. Like when you think about it, and you also have to consider that if the railway industry is considered an essential like labor force, and they can be forced into a contract that they don't want. What about like other essential labor forces, which we saw a lot of during the pandemic?
Like Wendy's.
Yeah. I mean, why not? People got to have their fast food. They got to have their food, and they got to have it fast.
You got to have it fast. You have to have it at 2 a.m.
You happen to be unlucky enough to be working for a fast food company now.
Yeah, right.
You made the choice.
Here's your serialized tattoo.
And here's the industrial staple device that we use to attach you to the floor.
But yeah, I mean, it has to, if you're a person who works in an industry, and you're like, ooh, I'm glad the rail labor strike was averted because that would have impacted my business or like the company I work for's business. You've missed the fucking point of this, which is that if an actual rail strike happened, it would be almost immediately met with worker demands in order to get the economy running again. Yep. What Congress did here is, in conjunction with Joe Biden kicking the can down the road for political reasons, and also just because he's actually an anti-worker piece of shit, despite the fact that he calls himself a pro-labor president.
Look, he's an Irishman, okay? They're all pro-labor.
Oi, me laddies. We all came over here on the same boat, didn't we?
I'm not just another German. I'm a pro-union Fenian.
I'd like to believe that Joe Biden's family comes from South Ireland. So. Maybe an obscure joke for some people, maybe not for others. But anyways, yeah, I mean, this is coming to a union agreement near you. You can be deemed an essential worker, no matter what industry you work in. I mean, obviously, freight is super important because it's where we get materials and goods and everything moving across the country. But who's to say that any other union can't be held to the same forced agreement? We need electricians, right? Electricians have to make the power go through the lines in order for us to run the stuff. if they decide to strike, why can't we use the same sort of precedent to force them into keeping their current labor agreements that they don't like? There's so many implications to this. One of the other major ones is longshoremen, people who work in the freight industry of shipping, like actual shipping through the ocean sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And they're coming up on their contract negotiations in a lot of cases, and a lot of them aren't happy with the labor conditions that they work under, especially after COVID. And every industry in every country kind of like bared its fangs towards all the workers during the pandemic, and people are like, oh yeah, when this economic system turns against us, it really fucking tears out our throats, doesn't it? So they like want better agreements, and there's no reason that the longshoremen aren't going to have the same sort of treatment as the rail freight workers.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
I just
because
wanna-
with electricians, ultimately, who else is dumb enough to do the things that they do?
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
So, and then successfully.
right.
Yeah, because carpenters will try to do what electricians do, and then that something always lights on fire.
Well, it's because you can't make a circuit out of wood, dummy.
Oh yes, you can. You just got to get it
Let's-
wet enough.
Ooh.
Let's also point out that the graph that we currently have on screen of the general wage increases falls behind the rate of inflation.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
So-
I mean, I
Oh,
did
yeah.
point that out earlier, but yes, you are correct that this should be pointed out.
Pretty cool.
Cool. So we do have a fun link to end on, because we
I don't
almost
even
hit
care anymore. I can't keep this up anymore. I can't keep it up anymore.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
say that nearly
just-
every
I can't-
episode, I think.
I can't keep it up anymore. All right.
Yeah, his dick is haunted by fucking rail freight
It
ghosts.
is.
My
It
dick is so
is.
haunted, bro.
It's constantly having to solve trolley problems.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that we should be paying these people extra for, right? They are the only people in the United States that have to deal with an actual trolley problem.
Hell yeah. Anyway, what's the fun link?
So
Is it actually
our
fun? Are you
link,
lying?
Go ahead and.
Oh hell yeah.
So I looked this up. Apparently, the World Cup is still going on, so this link is still relevant. I wanted to play it 2 weeks ago, but we had a holiday, and then we had
And it's happening
Planned vacation
in New Zanzibar or New Heaven. Big Boss is hosting it on an oil platform off of the coast.
Yeah, it's happening in a completely neutral space where there's no indentured servitude or slavery or human rights abuses or anything like that. But this is FIFA president Gianni Infantino.
Gianni Big Baby.
Exactly.
He looks like one. He rules.
So a little bit of preface to this. And anybody who's listening to this broadcast probably understands that Qatar is not a good place. TM hashtag or like copyright or whatever you need to say. Not a good place. TM. There's like 300,000 something native residents of Qatar, and it's a country of like over 1 million people. So that says like some things about how the labor there works, which is it's a bunch of immigrant workers who don't have actual rights, and all of the FIFA World Cup stadiums are probably soaked in like immigrant worker blood.
yeah.
So
Well, that's
very
that's primer. You know,
yeah.
like
I mean,
how else do
you
you
gotta
get
have a
the paint to
base
stick?
before yeah, right. You gotta have a base of some kind.
Yeah.
And you know, Qatar has obviously like no, that your facts and statistics are wrong. Ooh. A lot of them are like Tibetan immigrants. And when they reach Qatar, they have no rights. One of the like big things that Qatar actually admitted to doing for these immigrants is like, hey, we decided that when they say we want to go back home, we'll let them go back home. Wink, wink. And that's really all they've kind of done here. The other thing is that it needs to be pointed out that FIFA did not have to host the World Cup in Qatar. It's all like a pay to play sort of system. With
FIFA pay to play.
Yeah.
What?
It's all a pay to play system.
So is it every other year or every year that the president of FIFA is being investigated for corruption charges?
That implies it never stops.
Yeah.
Right?
So it depends. It depends on what's going on. The last president, whose name is slipping my brain, there's actually a pretty good documentary on Netflix about all this, which I'm loath to endorse a Netflix documentary. But if you want, I can give you a link where you can get it for free. So hit me up for that. Don't pay for anything. Don't pay for anything ever. Steal stuff. Always. Yeah, there's a pretty good documentary that Netflix put out about the last president and all of his scandals and the corruption and human rights abuses. And then this guy is kind of like taking over his place.
He's the sensitive one, though. Look at how sensitive his face is.
Yeah, he's a very sensitive Infantino. But I just want to point out one more thing about the country where this is being hosted before we listen to this, which is that it's a little weird for a country called Qatar to be covered in someone else's blood.
Ooh.
Oh.
Self-harm, more
Sick
like
burn.
outward. I don't know, man. Yeah, don't
Mic drop.
the mic. Yeah, I hope you dropped that in your lap.
It dropped on my belly. Full of delicious food.
That's too much money to waste on not
on the best self-harm joke you've heard today.
Not any mic drop moment that you made. So Gianni Infantino, I mean, to be fair to this guy, he's Italian. To be extra fair to this guy, he's kind of been handed a raw deal in that all these decisions were made before him. So he's kind of just like presiding over something that was already bought and sold and shouldn't have been bought and sold in the way it was bought and sold. But he's part of the same structure. So, like, again, Italian, probably a douchebag anyways. But you know, a lot of people have been very critical about the World Cup because Qatar doesn't allow gay people into it normally. And so if you're gay and you're attending the World Cup, you're kind of like not allowed to publicly display the fact that you're gay. Certain races have been excluded, I think.
Beer drinkers?
Do they have to pretend like they're different races?
Also, I'm sorry, what, John?
Do they have to pretend like they're different races?
Yeah, I think there's been some cases where people have had to like pretend like, oh no, I'm not this, I'm that.
Actually, I'm Italian.
Yeah, actually, I'm Italian, and somehow that's fine.
Yeah,
but
and then they just get greasy kisses all around.
Yeah.
You know, look how greasy that guy's lips are. They're as greasy as his head.
Jesus, man, you're really going in on this Italians are greasy thing. That's
I mean, they are. They are.
I said they have greasy kisses. You're the ones calling them greasy.
Yeah, they got greasy lips.
Yeah,
they got the greased up lips.
Yeah, they grease does not define them. Just their lips.
Just all of their orify.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh, Greece doesn't define the Italians. I'm sorry, where did they steal all the culture from? Anyways, so here is Gianni Infantino
Say it again.
reacting. Yeah,
Say it again.
Gianni, giant baby.
What does Gianni mean? It has to mean giant. I want it to be giant.
Probably like dumbass or something. I don't know.
Dumbass baby.
He looks like Igor.
Yeah, he looks like a Igor if he was like born into an upper middle class family.
Or
and they got him
or
surgery.
the Hunchback of Notre Dame, because he's got that kind of like droop on one side.
But they got
Ironically,
they got him a boot early on.
Ironically, looking at this man, this doesn't quite work. But Gianni apparently means God is gracious.
Oh no,
so his name is God is gracious, baby.
Giant baby.
Oh, horrifying.
I'm not sure that Infantino translates the way we've decided.
It has to. It has to.
I'm not going to question it or like investigate it or anything.
God is gracious, baby boy. Oh, bippity boppity, God is a gracious baby boy.
Should God is gracious be the title of the episode? Neither of you threw out a title recommendation, so
yeah, because we're getting used to being allowed some creative influence on this fucking podcast. Okay.
Hey, let's just watch this clip and you can think about it in the meantime. But anyways, this is how Gianni Infantino responds to the fact that the World Cup is being held in a country that abuses human rights all the time, kills lots of migrant workers, doesn't allow gay people in. And then I remember the thing that you were bringing up, Danko, which is that you're not allowed to drink beer in this country, which is like the least of all worries that like a contract with Budweiser has been aggrieved over this. but it's still, it's something. Like I should at least be allowed to get drunk if I can't be openly gay in this country.
I mean, that is like the biggest dick mood though. Like Budweiser gives you millions upon millions of dollars to do all this shit, and then you're like, yeah, we can't sell beer though. Like, I don't know.
We're a dry country, brother.
Yeah.
You want to smoke some opium though? But go ahead and play this clip, John.
Black tar opium for kids.
Qatari. Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African.
All right.
Oh wow, he really practiced.
Today I feel gay.
Oh.
Gay.
Today I feel disabled. Today I feel a migrant worker. Of course, I'm not Qatari, I'm not Arab, I'm not African, I'm not gay, I'm not disabled, I'm not really a migrant worker. But I feel like them because I know what it means to be discriminated, to be bullied as a foreigner in a foreign country, as a child at school. I was bullied because I had red hair and I had these red, how do you call them? Freckles. Freckles. You see, I don't even know the term. So I was bullied, of course, for that. Plus I was Italian, so imagine. Didn't speak good German. And what do you do then? You lock yourself down, you go into your room, you cry, and then you try to make some friends. and you try to speak, to engage, and you try to get these friends to engage as well with others and others and others.
Is he describing a pyramid scheme?
Accusing, fighting, insulting. You start engaging. And this is what we should be doing.
Hey, today I
Press
feel.
pause so we don't have to hear whatever the sad is.
Today I feel. And today I feel. And today I feel. But you see, I understand what it's like to feel like because I was a ginger.
You went a little French with it. But,
Whatever. Who cares? Continental Europeans are all the same.
Yeah, well, you went lower where Italians go higher. I think. Yeah, I feel discriminated. Where you were like, I feel discriminated.
I feel it is. Yeah, well, and that's all I know is that the Italians are famously effeminate, especially when compared to the masculine French.
Exactly. But yeah, so really good PR attempt there to call yourself gay, disabled, African, Qatari, a migrant worker, and then have to say, yeah, I'm not any of those things, but I feel it because one time when I was in a very posh school, people made fun of me because I had red hair and freckles.
How about that for a title? I feel like an R word.
All right. That'll be the title of the episode.
Today I feel R-worded.
Today I feel R-worded. Got it.
There you go.
All that being said, does anybody have any parting thoughts or things they want to pitch?
No, man, I should have been asleep like, fucking
3 hours ago.
2.5, 3 hours ago. Yeah.
My only pitch is that the Trincata workshop on the image officially begins right after the holiday. So patreon.com/Trincata, TRUNCATA. You know where to fucking find it. You know where to find it.
You know where to go.
But we're starting that right after New Year's, and we're doing some fun little more free-form sessions this week and the week following before taking 2 weeks off for the holidays. Otherwise, I feel I'm not allowed to say it, but today I feel that way.
Today I feel philosopher. Today I feel writer. Today I feel rupee cower. Cool. Well, my pitch, as usual, is that the Benzo Rehab Dungeon is and always will be a free broadcast. If you enjoy, like, or think what we're doing here matters or is neat or this isn't the same pitch. I always change it up every time I do it. It doesn't matter.
It's super inconsistent.
Yeah, I'm inconsistent.
Yeah.
Sunglasses.
Yeah. How's our bad behavior going to change if you can't have a little bit of consistency?
True.
Yeah, we're never going to stop feeling retarded.
Hey, that's your word, not mine. Hey, got him. But no, as always, the Benzo Rehab Dungeon is and always will be a free broadcast. If you like what we're doing here, feel free to go to patreon.com/Benzo Rehab Dungeon. You can give as little or as much as you like. It doesn't get you anything special, but anything that I get from that, I do try to put back into the podcast, whether it be maintaining subscription fees that I had to keep up for, producing this, or other things that I, spend money on, like a dumb soundboard where I can just press buttons and say
wet ass P word.
That's worth it every time.
That's almost paid for itself at this point. So feel free to go there. Again, not required, not going to change what we do here. except for that it might improve some things here and there.
You get a picture of my couch, and you can pay me off to follow any political ideology you want. I don't even care anymore. I don't even care anymore. I'm a Maoist hyper racist. I don't give a shit.
It's like Cameo, but like worse.
Yeah, it's Cameo, but you get to determine how I vote.
It's Cameo, but you get to like endorse genocide.
I don't even think there's a North and South Sudan anymore.
Why would there be? Is there a North and South Dakota? I'm sorry, we're just gonna call that not Dakota. Like, right?
Yeah, because buttplug murder 69420 on Twitter.com told me so.
Buttplug genocide 69420 on Twitter paid me $20 to say there's no North or South Sudan.
Anyway, you can Venmo me $5 and
I'll show you holes.
I'll advocate for the assassination of any world leader you want.
Except Joe Biden, because that has legal implications.
That will cost you.
Yeah, that's $1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You went way lower than I did.
Well, some of us are just braver and more desperate.
I was gonna say, I forgot to consider that you need a job right now.
Yeah. Some of us are unemployed.
he says with the surfer vibe. Cool. Well, listener, viewer, as always, we love you so much. Please take your medicine.
Please take one too.
And when it's wet ass P word, ask for consent before you share.
Oh.
With who?
That good wet P word medicine.
With who?
With your friends.
Thank you.
Yeah, the boys and the girls.
You
crack open a cold
one. I don't know how to like really fucking work with that.
And
fuck you.
Dogs are probably okay too, right? They're part of the boys.
We're done now.
You're done.